So we have this again, woke math, which is really interesting. We've been seeing this for, I would say, for the last 2 to 3 years, but it really hasn't gotten mainstream till probably the last 3 or 4 months, where actually we're starting to see this disseminate all through the media. What's very interesting about this is that it has certain aspects to it which I think relate to a more fundamental and deeper problem, such as we have propositions being made that finding the right answer is somehow inherently racist, which is an interesting take and actually leads to something more deeper, profound on what it's actually showing. Down here, it has another one stating that certain contributions to math are not properly credited. And just that usage of the word credit is such a bizarre way to describe mathematics in general, or any type of achievement in any of the hard sciences or any intellectual pursuit. So essentially, back on that point, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Pay attention to the equal sign, and let's say little Timmy says that it equals 5 as well. So we have these two different answers. Now, little Timmy doesn't want his feelings hurt because we want everything to be exactly equal. And when you have things which are equal, it means that you must have multiple interpretations of certain things. Well, in this case, that's going to be very, very harmful. Another reason why this is actually an outrage, you could say, in a sense, to a certain way of living which we've adopted. For example, if we had the numbers written like this, 2 plus 2 equals 4, this entire argument would just collapse. They wouldn't even have an argument in the first place. The reason why it's not because math is inherently bigoted or math inherently has some type of prejudice which comes with it, which is affecting certain groups. It's a more fundamental issue on corporatism, basically, or on having everything standardized, industrialized, controlled by just a handful of corporations. And this is a way of showing it outwards, in a sense, and it's a way of showing that pent up frustration, essentially. In reality, and math is actually a really good way to show it because math is precise, straight to the point, and there are it's very difficult to necessarily find more interpretations of it because you can manipulate it as easily as you can manipulate words. So back on the article, it mentioned something about not giving credit to certain mathematicians throughout history, focusing predominantly, mostly on European mathematicians and not Asian mathematicians. So what's really interesting about this is that the use of the word credit. I mean, usually when we say I want to give you credit for that, it's to recognize your achievements either through some type of praise or through some type of actual physical thing. But in the way in the context is explained in here, it sounds so transactional, like you're paying someone to do something. It sounds so materialistic in a sense. It's like we have one Isaac Newton here, and let's say he made calculus, and then we have another unknown philosopher or mathematician, and let's say he made something. So, so on a general format, let's say we give credit to this guy and we do nothing to this guy. So yeah, in a sense, this could be not recognizing talents from someone else. But in the way they explain in the context, it just sounds like that the only reason we only do work just to credential people or just to give them the award in the end, which I think is a really horrible way of explaining things. It kind of takes away the pursuit towards that thing and the pursuit of that intellectual endeavor, which is a really weird way to place it and phrase it, especially in the context of that article.